Hey everybody, John with Owl, and I want to give you a quick tutorial on how to install our new billet offset mirror arm for Wolfbox. So on these vans, if you have a wider gauge cluster, you're going to want the offset arm because it's going to move the mirror over here. If you have a newer, which is I think 25, it's not exact, 25 and up, actually have the sensor cluster down there, and this is smaller, in which case you can just use our direct ball mount. So before we can get back into the van, I want to show you how to install your offset mount onto your Wolfbox, because you kind of got to do it in stages. We're going to install some of the bracketry onto the Wolfbox, and then we're also going to leave this kind of, I call it the hockey stick looking piece, is actually going to be installed in the van first, and then you're going to install this part. So you're not going to build the entire thing at once. Basically, you've got a backing bracket that is going to go onto the back of the Wolfbox. These come factory with little rubber things in there. Just rip those out. They're irrelevant at this point because you have a much nicer solution. This is a prototype piece, like I mentioned all the time, so it's not powdered or, it's not anodized as beautifully as yours will be. So bear with the kind of flaking spray paint that we have used. Once we have pulled out the rubber pieces from the mirror, then you're going to take this backing plate. Yours might look slightly different than this. And then you're going to find, you should have 4 of these tiny little screws. Now, if you're going to be installing the wire cover, you're going to have 2 longer versions of these, but if you're not installing the wire cover, which is an option you can purchase, then you're going to have 4 of the same length screws, and then you should have a small screwdriver that comes with the kit. There's 4 of them. I won't make you sit through all 4. Next step is going to be this part right here, which has a little pin that I've just dropped. All right, the little pin has been rescued. You can see there's 2 holes on the back of this, and this pin goes in this top hole. We're going to use that later once we're inside the van. So just make sure that when you walk into the van and so on, you don't lose this pin. So you may want to put it in now, you might not. Depends on how sure you are of your skills to not lose it. Then we're going to take this part and we're going to mount it to the mirror. And you're just going to tighten this. Sorry, let me show you this bolt. You have this cap head bolt here that you're going to use to install into the bracket that you've just put onto the Wolfbox. And then you want to make sure that this is basically in line with everything on the Wolfbox. And then you're going to hold that while you tighten that bolt down. You want to make it snug, you don't want to go crazy. All right, so that's pretty good. That's how far along we should be. You've got 4 screws in this, and then you've got this center bolt and this bracket here. Now you want this bracket to face away from the camera, okay? So you don't want this pin to face towards the camera, you want it to face away. It just might be a little bit hard when I'm doing this upside down. So once you've got this part assembled, you're pretty much ready to move to the van. I'm going to show you how to assemble the rest of it here, just so that you know. You'll also have one of these, which is a 20 millimeter ball end, which is kind of cool. I'll show you what you can do with that. And then you'll have this longer cap head stainless bolt. So this part is going to be installed in the van, but let's assume that we've done that, which we'll show you in the video. This is then going to, I'm going to lose a bolt again. So the way this works is you're going to slide, let's assume that my head is the van, and actually that doesn't work. Let's assume that the van's over here. This pin that is in here is going to slide into the top hole on this, and just like so. And then you're going to install this through the 20 millimeter ball, and then that is going to go on the end. and then you can tighten all of that down. And again, that's once you're in the van. So that's pretty much what it's going to look like. Now, the cool thing about that ball is you can mount different accessories that we have, extension arms and so on the website. All kinds of things you can mount up there. One of my favorites is this little GoPro mount. So if you want to shoot GoPro video out either the front or into the cab, you know, if you're doing any kind of videos or vlogging or anything like that. We don't really even know what you're going to use this mount for, but we thought we would put it in there because why not have an extra place to mount things in your vehicle? So now we've got a GoPro that faces back at everybody in the van if you want to shoot some fun videos, or you can face it out the front as you're going down the trail to capture that video out the front. Or like I said, you can have other mounts there, whether it's maps or anything that really mounts to these 20mm balls. So that is how you assemble all of this. Now we'll jump back into the van and show you how to put it on. So to install these, I want to show you what this clip looks like. First of all, see how it's kind of a three-pronged clip. Now where it mounts to, there's going to be typically a rear view mirror here and this shroud with another plastic piece. So what I do is I take this off. It just kind of pull out to the sides and it pops off. So you can see how that kind of mounts there. You've got these round posts that these things right here, where is it? Right there, index on. So you basically just pull straight at you. If you're trying to get this center portion out, that you can just reach up here and disengage the clips and then pull it straight towards you. So assuming you've got all that off, the way you're going to get your factory mirror off. So this is your factory mirror and yours will look just like this, except that spring clip we actually harvested from this mirror. So normally you would see that spring clip right in here, right there. And so we just took those screws out. We have screws provided with this, or you can reuse the screws that come with it. Realistically, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, this is going to mount to that. And I want to show you the technique. So see how this is shaped like a stop sign? It's like an octagon. Basically, if you try to get it on this way or off straight, it won't happen. So the way this gets put on at the factory, they put it on and they twist. So we're going to get it off the same way. You're going to grab it down here near the bottom, and you're going to, I would wear gloves because there's lots of sharp plastic around here. And knowing me, once it gives, I'm going to go like this and I'm going to gash my knuckles. So put some gloves on, and then you simply just, you don't pull right or left, you just twist and it will pop off. Once it's off, take the screws out of the spring clip, move the spring clip over to your new offset arm mount, reinstall the screws that came with the offset arm mount, and then installing it is basically the reverse of removing it. On this arm, you're going to want to install it with the arm facing this way. So it basically comes down and makes a hockey stick shape. And so you're going to take this and you're going to put it on. Now it should go on easily. If you're fighting it, it's not angled or clocked the right way. So you're going to put it on at approximately a 45 degree, and then you're going to twist it like so, and you'll feel it pop into place. Now it's rock solid. Once you've got that on, now you've got your mirror. I've already showed you how to put this together. Basically, these are prototype parts, so they're not anodized. Yours will be anodized, but for the sake of this video, these are aluminum, and then you've got your cover on here, which is an option. So then we're going to take this and we're going to find this pin. See this pin up here? And there's also a pin on the backside here. You see there's a hole all the way through, and there's a hole for the pin. You're gonna line up the pin and then thread your bolt through. And then you're gonna tighten this. And remember, you're tightening this into aluminum. And aluminum is very soft metal. Steel is very hard metal. So you don't wanna give this all of the strength you've got. You're gonna just kind of wanna snug it down. If you're really concerned about that coming loose, you can drop some blue Loctite on it or something, but it's also pretty easy to retighten. So there you go. That is basically the installation of the arm. You can see how absolutely gorgeous that is, especially with the cover. So the whole purpose of all this is to get this camera back here. The whole purpose of this is to be able to get this camera out of the way of the shroud. So remember, this camera is aimable. So you're gonna wanna aim it down and to the left. And it's gonna give you the best possible view out the front of your van. Then we include this fancy dancy printed slot to finish off the look. So you're gonna take this and you're gonna put this into your shroud like so. Just wanna be delicate doing this. Insert that like so. And then you're gonna take your entire assembly here. You're gonna go around that bracket all the way up to the bulkhead. And once you get it all the way up, this should just press right back into place. If I may say so myself, it's absolutely gorgeous. That is the new Owl offset arm for Wolfbox. It is rock solid. It's gonna aim the camera over and closer to the driver. Now you may ask, why didn't we bring it over further? Well, two things. One, we don't want to block the view of the driver out the front. Second, look at that. That clearance is only a few millimeters. So we designed this specifically to clear your sun visors. Come over any more and you wouldn't be able to flip your sun visor against your window. So this is the max amount that you can move this over. We also kept it really, really high and tight to the vehicle. And what that's going to allow you to do is not impede any of your kind of line of sight. So from my point of view, you can see the bottom of the cluster is the lowest part here. This disgusting, filthy mirror is actually higher than the cluster. So there you have it. Hopefully you find this part as rad as I do. And it's available now.